Well, hello and welcome back. We have a wonderful Saturday evening together. I hope everyone's doing well, staying cool, and having a great day so far. We're going to be doing a little bonus stream tonight outside of our normal Tuesday to Thursday rotation. Back with more Rolife stuff, but we're going to be doing something a little different than the Rolife kits that we've been building so far. So those of you who have been here and know, the Rolife kits that we've done have been these laser cut wood kits uh, that have been really fun for us to put together, like the book nooks and uh, like the little mini shop series. And it's been really fun for us to put those together because they do have a degree of like actually taking the parts out of the sprues and constructing them. Um, we're going to try something a little bit different today, and this is a series by Rolife that I've seen quite a bit, and I think would be interesting for a slightly different reason. So briefly, let me introduce you to what is known as the Super Creator series by Rolife. So Rolife has these kits called the Super Creator series. The Super Creator series are sort of they're a little bit different than the kits that we're used to putting together. Almost every single part in this kit is made of plastic instead of laser cut wood. So a lot of these parts are already basically out and they're already cut and they're ready to go. And it's basically just more about the assembly and the placement of the pieces than it is anything. These are sort of little rooms or little buildings. So this one's obviously a little bookstore. And a lot of the construction of this is going to just simply be assembling the bigger pieces and then just placing them in this kit. At the end of it, we have something a little bit different than like a book nook or like the mini shop kits, where we have ourselves a room that has two features. One of which is that they are modular and stackable. So you build multiple of these kits, you can stack them vertically or horizontally. The second feature is that they are lit. So some of these kits do have like individual little signs. So like this white sign right here, I believe might actually be lit. But they do also have a light that hangs overhead. The overhead light is either the floor of any that is, or the floor of any kit that is above it, or in a second here, we'll see there's a little roof that we can attach to it. These kits are easier to put together, so to speak, or maybe not necessarily easier, but they are going to take less time to put together because there isn't any, having to pull pieces out of sprues and like sanding any wood that's not fitting properly. A lot of this is going to be about just very simply getting things where they need to be in place. But that said, I think having for a kit that's modular, I think having just one, especially if it's going to be a quicker build, is potentially a little bit boring. So we actually have two we're going to be putting together. So we have this fantastic bookstore that we're going to be putting together, and then we also have the Golden Wheat Bakery that we're going to be putting together. So I think one little fun thing that's going to be uh, exciting to see with these kits is one, what the differences are between these, such as obviously any design choices that are different or how like the construction of them is a little bit different. So it'll be fun to see that. And then secondarily, since we do have two of them, we can go ahead and we can start actually attaching them. So I think the fun idea behind this is that this is a sort of recurring series where we have like ourselves a little bit of like a neighborhood or like a shopping center where we're going to be slowly building up um, all of these different little stores that are in the actual building. And we're going to start with two of them. I think before we get started, one thing that I did want to go ahead and kind of plan out ahead of time is how we are going to position these two. I think because the roof for one ends up being the floor of another. So, for example, like if we stacked this on top of that, the bottom of this floor ends up being the ceiling for this for it to be able to be lit. And then if there isn't one that goes on top of it, you can buy these additional little pieces like this that allows you to put a roof on top of a kit that doesn't have, another kit on top of it. So I think what I'd like to do for this is we're going to have these two stacked vertically. One of them will be obviously on the bottom, one will be on top, and whichever one is on top, we're going to put that roof piece on. And so that way we have a 1x2 tall little start to our neighborhood slash market. And the other question that I was thinking of off the top of my head, which was what order do we want to put these in? So this is something that if those of you who are watching have opinions on, and this goes for any aspect of the actual process itself. So if there's like a placement of a piece, or if there's like some furniture or something that is a little bit more forgiving or loose, for example, like if there's something that we can put somewhere not just exactly where they tell us to put it. If you have any suggestions, feel free to put them. If you don't, and you're just here for the ambience and the atmosphere, that's fine as well. So the decision of which piece goes on top and which goes on bottom is the first of our decisions to make. I have my own opinions. If you have your own opinions, feel free to share them. But I'm thinking that we will probably want to do the bakery on the bottom and then put the bookstore on the top. Thinking about this from like an actual perspective of like this being like a shopping center or something, the idea thought or the thought process in my head basically was you have thinking of like an actual storefront, you would usually have like a bakery or some kind of like restaurant on the bottom floor, and then maybe you'd have like a staircase or something leading up to the upper floors that have more retail spaces, like in this case a bookstore, or maybe if we went higher we might have something like a pharmacy or something. But I feel like in a lot of multi-business commercial spaces, the bottom floor always tends to be like some kind of restaurant or some kind of food establishment for a couple of reasons. And I think a large part of that is like they have, super heavy equipment and all that jazz. And so it's hard for them to bring that into higher floors. So I think the idea is we have this on bottom, this one on top, and then this one will have the roof. I think that would be super cute for us to start with and super fun. Um, But obviously, we don't have to make that decision just yet because we don't have to make any decisions on that until we build both of them. So, that said, since this one is, at least in my opinion, going to be the one that's going to be on bottom, I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started with this kit. And once we get that kit completed, we'll move on to the bookstore. Then, once we have them both built, we'll work on actually assembling them. So, So as mentioned before, obviously, all of these kits are sort of already they're already out. There's no sprues. There's no worrying about having to take pieces out or possibly breaking them in the process of getting them out of the sprues. You just have a bunch of plastic pieces. Now, one thing that I thought about and was a little concerned about when I was looking at building these kits is for the things that are a little bit looser, such as these. My concern is that if we have a kit that gets jostled around, or if it gets bumped, or if it gets moved, that those pieces are going to go flying everywhere. So something that we might end up doing is if there are pieces that are just sort of loose, we might end up gluing them just so that way they are a little bit more secure. But obviously you can see here, like this is the bakery case. It looks like they've done a pretty good job of sort of separating these pieces, at least into their respective functions. So this obviously looks like it's the oven. Have ourselves a pair of tweezers, which we won't necessarily need. I'll actually get my nice ones out here. Have those ready. USB cable. I'll talk about this here in a second. This is one of the things that I'm actually quite excited about, but All right, we have ourselves. This, I believe, is the support for the corner of the building. If you're going to have it stacked, obviously you need to have some kind of support in that last corner. And then this would be the walls and the floor. Have ourselves some stickers and some printed designs, and then obviously our instructions. So one thing I'll talk about very briefly, more specifically having to do with the power aspect of things. So in previous kits that we built that are lit, which to my knowledge, I think we've only ever actually done one kit on here that's been lit, which is the Book Nook kit. The Book Nook kit had a little battery pack and a little switch that we had to kind of wire up, and we had to connect the wires to. And honestly, it was just a massive pain in the butt. I won't lie. This kit's actually a little bit different. So this kit has this little power pack that goes on the back of it, and it actually has 3 little switches or 3 little sockets on the back for us to plug lights in. This is one of those lights, and this is like the light that hangs above the shop itself, and it gets plugged into here, and this actually gets powered by USB-C. So what this cable's for is if you have multiple kits that are all powered by USB-C, this is a kit to, or this is a cable to allow you to daisy chain them. So you can have this kit plugged into the kit below it, and then you simply power the bottom kit, and all of them are lit together because they take so little power that you're basically drawing next to nothing in the first place. And so you can have multiple kits that are lit up together. So I think that was one cool thing, is that we can have them all lit up without having to worry about, multiple power sources or anything like that. And this is how we do it. So I'm actually going to put these 2 aside because those 2 pieces are a little bit special before we fully get started here. So if you haven't already gotten yourself a beverage or something for you to stay hydrated, feel free to go ahead and do that super quickly. I myself have some iced coffee here. Good stuff. So yeah, let's take a look here. Okay. So it looks like we might be in luck on the adhesive front, or at least the pieces rattling around front, because they did include these adhesive strips and these adhesive dots. I'll see how well these work out. The adhesive dots, in my experience, have worked out quite well with Rolife kits, but we might have to secure something a little bit more firmly. Hey, Anna. We might have to secure something a little bit more firmly, so we might use something besides these dots. And if we need to, we need to. I have plenty of super glue for that. But yeah, so yeah. Get started, shall we? So this is the oven, which I believe is this kit right here. Oh, we have ourselves another light. Wonder where that goes. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Looks like we might have ourselves a sticker we need to get out of here too. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this pack up. ahead and get our adhesive out. Have that ready. All right. So we have some bad. Okay. And we have one. They've definitely done a great job of labeling everything. Like the stickers themselves are also very clearly labeled as like this is the sticker that goes at this location, everything like that. So they've done a really good job of that. Nice. Bring you guys a little bit closer so you can see. Hey Jazzy, hey everybody. Welcome, welcome. We are putting together a Rolife Super Creator Kit. Basically, this is just like a little model kit for us to put together. This one in particular is the Golden Wheat Bakery Kit. We were putting these together, a couple of them together, because we're sort of starting a little bit of a neighborhood here. For those of you who have never tuned into one of my streams before, I like to do sort of just cozy, relaxing streams where we do fun, creative things together, whether it's building model kits or whether it is doing music production or just hanging out and yapping. So we are, like I said, putting together one of these model kits. We actually just got started. Oh, thanks for the follow. Uh, yes, cozy, relaxing, and yes, I have that clip of you screaming. I remember when we first did that peak stream, my first thought was like, this is going to be the absolute, thanks for the follow. I remember when we did that peak stream, my first thought was like, this is going to be completely off-brand for my stream. And honestly, I have absolutely no problem with that. It was a ton of fun. It was really nice. Um, but I digress. So yeah, if you're here, feel free to yap, feel free to tune in and chime in with any suggestions or anything you have, or if you're just here to hang out and chill, feel free to do that as well. But yeah, so right now we are working on putting together the oven for this bakery. I mentioned a second ago, whenever we were first starting to put this together, these kits are a little bit easier than the other kits that I put together, like the book note kit, which took me like, oh my god, six. Well, it's not just an oven. So the entire kit itself is this entire bakery. And so we're just right now, we're putting together just the oven part of it. But at the end of it, this is what the kit will look like once we have the whole thing put together. It does have like a couple of little accent lights, like this little light or this little sign right here lights up. The oven itself has a light, and then it has like an overhead one. And the idea is that we actually have two of these kits because we also have this bookstore. And the idea is that once we have both of them built, they are modular. So that way, once you've built both of them, you can actually stack them together. And so we're sort of starting I guess like a little shopping center or like a little neighborhood, so to speak. And so that's sort of what we're working on right now. Also, thanks to the beverage check. Like I said earlier, I've got some some delicious iced coffee because it has been absolutely too hot lately for us to drink anything that's warm. But I digress. But yeah, it is a nice little kit. I think these are because these are easier. That's why we're gonna do two of them tonight instead of just one. And also because it's gonna certainly save my fingers because I'm not having to get like little laser cut wood pieces out, and a lot of these just sort of seem to slot together anyway. So, but either way, yeah. So I actually didn't know about this ahead of time, but I think each of the model kits has at least one or two little light accents. So, oh man, I actually have you reminded me. I have a Gundam kit over in the corner of my living room that I didn't specifically get to build on stream, but I might build on stream one of these days. Um, it makes me really sad because that was the last Gundam kit I bought from a store here where I live in this city. Um, and it was the last. I wish I could. You're gonna make me go get it. Hang on. It's a it's this model kit. Yeah, I'm probably going to. Um, honestly, call me a poser, call me whatever you'd like. I don't actually know people who do Gunpla. I don't know if they actually are very intimately familiar with the series or not, but I'm absolutely one of the people who build the kits. Yeah, I'm absolutely one of the people who build the kits based on like just how they look, and I don't really know much about Gundam to begin with, unfortunately. It's one of those things that like I've done a couple of the kits, and I would really like to. Oh, thanks for the follow. Um, it's absolutely one of those things that like I would like to actually start getting into the series enough that way I know like the kits that I'm building instead of just building them based on their appearance. Um, but I digress. It's definitely something I'll do one of these days. And I would like to put together like one of like the really complex ones. The ones that I put together so far have been pretty simple. But either way, get you guys up a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Also, actually, hang on. Oh shoot, so we got 3 new followers. So if I'm correct, I think that means we've hit affiliate. Because that was the only thing that I was missing was getting up to 25 followers. Yeah, I'm not super worried about like the more complex ones being like too difficult or anything. I want something that's like I want something that's like I used to put together like actual like airplane and like military models when I was a lot younger. And I really enjoyed the ones that were super complex in the fact that like you can be as simple or as complex with them as you wanted to. So like you could just glue the thing together and then you'd be done. But you could also have like um you could also like put detail into it and paint it. Those are definitely things that I would like to get back into one of these days. And I it's certainly on like my laundry list of things to get into, but like a very complex Gunpla model is definitely one of those that like I'd really like to try out. Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into it more. Gunpla and like Gundam kits in general are they're one of those things that just like they kind of go over my head just because like I said I don't really know much about the series, but just like seeing what's out there and seeing like obviously not having put together one or two in my time, like they're very fun. Um Models in general and anything that's kind of miniature to me is probably one of the biggest interests of mine. Those of you who know me very, very well know that like model trains are something that I'm really into. Uh, but like just anything miniature in general to me is just really fun to put together and build. And the more intricate and the more detailed they are, the more fun I have with them. Also, what's she on this side? I'll say no. I don't think there is. Hmm. Okay, so that's what it is. So a second ago when I was trying to put this door on, it didn't really feel like it wanted to stay. It's because this back piece that holds the little film in place is what actually kind of allows it to stay and flex. Nice. Off topic, I'm really digging this playlist. I wanted something that was just a little bit different than what I've been playing, which the soundtrack for my streams lately has been a lot of like Studio Ghibli or like lo-fi like study beats, stuff like that. Um, but I was like, I really wanted something that was a little bit more relaxed, a little bit jazzier, and so I found this playlist, and honestly, I've really been loving it so far. Cute. Have ourselves a little oven. How adorable. And this is actually lit too, which is why we have the little power cable going off the back. This goes to the little power box that will be behind the little power box that'll be behind the whole kit once we're done. Plead the fifth. It's okay. Earlier, whenever I told Anna that I was gonna be playing like a jazzier playlist, she hits me with like the stereotypical you got or you like jazz. So it's okay. Us jazz enjoyers suffer for our art. Listen, I'm gonna say I would be very surprised if there isn't a day that you if I can't talk, hang on. I would be very surprised if there isn't a day that you meet us to some degree. And I don't think you can put gifs in chat on Twitch. You're stuck with the emojis. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. You're still mad about how I say GIF? You mean the right way? Listen, if you want to argue that, we'll argue that. But I'm just going to say right now, I'm going to win. Listen, the guy who made the format said that it's pronounced GIF. I feel like if anyone is an expert on like how it's pronounced, it's the guy who made the dang thing. Listen, you give me a legitimate argument as to why it is supposed to be GIF and not GIF, and I'll concede. But if I can come up with a rebuttal, okay. But that's the thing, though, is that he couldn't have made it just a J because it's not GIF because he just decided to call it GIF. It's GIF because it's an acronym. It's graphics interchange format. What's this K3? Oh, we got our little menu. How cute. His acronym is stupid. Is that your argument? Is that his acronym is stupid? I don't think I'll ever put a sticker down as cleanly as that again. Like, look at that perfection. I find it funny that like that seems to be the consensus with like you and most of my friends, Anna. Like you like I for reference, I don't know if you as in like Jazzy and Fox know this, but I have another friend of mine who I'm really close with, uh, and without using her actual name, I'll use like her online name. Her name's Harm, and I'm not joining that argument. That's fair. Uh, that's wise. But I have a friend of mine named Harm, and she lives up in like the Toronto-ish area of Canada. Really, really good friend of mine, and uh, I think after introducing her to Anna, it's also sort of the same thing where like I feel like if I ever actually went up there to go visit her, that she and Anna would be like a force to be reckoned with. How cute. Have ourselves our little menu. How cute. Also, I just want to say right now, I don't know what prices they base this off of, but two bagels for $1.25, that's dirt cheap. Like I want these prices. I don't want 2026 prices. Yeah, I think we're actually getting ready to put together the walls and the floor now. I guess. But I mean, like everything on here is relatively cheap. Like, get yourself a get yourself a berry trifle for only $3, or Black Forest cake for $5. Eh, well, honestly, I forgot who I was telling about it. It might have been a coworker of mine about how like Japan is expensive to get there. But like once you get there, if you're an American and you are bringing obviously, you know, you're converting US dollars to yen, everything there is just like actually pretty dang cheap. They really want me to adhesive dots. Actually, do I have... This one I had it. I don't think I have it here though. No, unfortunately not. I thought I had some like tape or what do you want to call it? Whatever. I thought I had some real tape that I was going to use to put this down instead of using these glue dots because they only, I guess, want us to put one down to hold this thing in place, which is yeah, exactly. Like Japan, I won't say Japan is like cheap to live in, like if you actually live there and you know you're getting paid in yen, but like if you're visiting and you've got the power of the US dollar behind your back, like it's actually quite cheap. Like once you're actually there. Yeah, I don't like this at all. Like the fact that it's being held in just by that one glue dot. I could have sworn I had a piece of tape. I do. Aha! Yeah, and it's not been getting better, unfortunately, but I know I had this stuff somewhere. Cool. So now we can more securely put this down. Boom. So now it won't flex and kind of pop out anymore. It's not like this is ever, it's not like I ever want to remove this anyway, so with it being a little bit more permanent, I'm not super worried. I'm also going to do something really quickly, now that I think about it. We're getting, we're going to get into super cozy mode here. I have some incense sticks that I bought forever ago that I've been meaning to use. They're like super high quality, so they don't really smell like they don't really smell like burning like a lot of cheaper incense sticks do. So I was like, listen, we got some coffee, we got some jazz, now we got some incense. Perfect. If it doesn't just blow all over the street, my God. Anyway, cool. So we got ourselves the floor. These four pieces go into so these four pieces right here, if I remember correctly, these you actually pop out. These little pieces right here, you pop out. If you want to connect these kits to other kits uh, horizontally, which we don't want to do right now because we're going to be stacking these vertically. So that's why we're putting these pieces in here for right now. Okay. Need- So as with the oven, each of these kits, I guess, I'm not gonna say each of these kits, but I think most of the kits have three different like lighting accents. This is one of the three. So the other one was the oven, which has like the little lights for the inside of the oven. The second one is this little golden wheat bakery sign. So we actually want to pop these out. Okay, let's see what's going on here. This is why they mentioned a second ago. They're just like, don't press the wallpaper firmly to it. I can see why they said that now. That took so long. There was like a weird little thing we had to do where we like looped in the wire behind the wallpaper there. But we've got it now. Okay, let's see here. Let's do Oh, hey there. Uh, Glad that you're enjoying it so far. Um, those of you who might just be tuning in for the first time, welcome, welcome. Uh, my name is Rasmataz. I do a lot of just sort of cozy creative stuff, whether that's just we just sit here and talk, or we just sit here and enjoy each other's company while we do some fun and cozy creative things together. Oh, hello. I gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know if it was just my mic or something, uh, but either way, welcome. Glad that you're enjoying it. If you can hear me now, but my name is Rasmataz. We do some fun, cozy, creative stuff here. Whether that's just building model kits like we're doing today, or music production, or other fun maker related things. Sometimes we play games. We do a variety of things here, but ultimately the goal is just for us to have a fun time together and enjoy each other's company, whether that's we're just sitting in silence and just enjoying a nice, chill, cozy evening together, or we're sitting here and we're talking about what, quite literally whatever. So tonight we are putting together a Rolife Super Creator Kit. We're actually possibly going to put together two of them. It started like a little series and a little bit of an experiment to uh, start building like a bit of a neighborhood or like a shopping center. And so I've never personally put together these Super Creator kits, but I've put together plenty of other kits by Rolife. And so this is a little bit of a first try for me. But that said, it's fun so far from what I can see. Uh, but yeah, hopefully you enjoy. Hopefully, feel free to stick around as long as you'd like. If you've got something you'd like to chime in, feel free to. Or if you're just here for the ambience, by all means. Oh, well, Godspeed to you. Thanks for stopping by. Wait a minute, I know who that is. uh, okay, for context, because I was so confused. I mentioned my friend Harm a while ago who lives in Canada. 99% sure that's her. I was so confused for a second. I was getting worried. I was just like, wait, who's? Oh, Christ. Here I am going on my entire spiel about what my channel's about, and it was her this whole time. It do be like that sometimes. Use tweezers to insert doorknobs. Cute. That's what I was saying. No, I'm 99.9% sure that's farm. So she's tuned in before, but she's never actually gotten around to like subscribing and everything. But or not subscribing, following and whatnot. But no. No, that's why I was kind of concerned at first. I was just like, who's calling you their queen? Oops. I almost lost it. That's super cute. Little sand mixer. Oh, so is it just not going to tell me where it goes? No, I guess not. Just like, well, you've got the stand mixer. Have fun, buddy. Okay, I got that. That. I'm assuming these might be extras. Do I have a place to put these that's not just out in the open? There we go. Failed 3D print is now our parts bin for tonight. Okay. Oh Lord, they are really testing my patience with these doorknobs. I'm also really glad that I'm not using like the built or the provided tweezers with this because those tweezers they're all right, but they're just like these kind of chunky plastic ones. And trying to put these doorknobs in here with anything less than like what I'm currently using would probably drive me actually insane. It honestly is. Like, I get that these are supposed to be like, I'm not gonna say like play pieces, but just like the fact that like these aren't just like static little things. Like they're actually little drawers and cabinets and like things that you're meant to open. I think that's really neat. Um, Neat. That's one reason why like I'm trying my best to not glue down everything in sight because partially I do want it to be able to still like if you want to redecorate or move things around, I still want to be able to do that. But I also like I said before, like I'm also mostly worried about like getting it or like jostling it or like something happening and then the pieces going everywhere, which I guess is part of the risk you take, but I digress. Bro. Oh, I was wondering why that wasn't working anymore. I'm out of tape. I have a refill somewhere, but I'm gonna have to fill it later.
Cute. Have ourselves like a little display case of sliding doors. Oh, there we go. Cardboard basket. I did actually opt to use super glue in this particular one because of the round shape of the bread, obviously. I didn't want any of the I didn't want any of these little like adhesive dots to not hold onto it securely enough. So I did go ahead and super glue some of those in. Let that sit there and dry. Or ourselves a little bread counter. Adorable. So now... No, I think we actually decorate the bread counter.
Bread. Bread.
Turn some music. little bread cabinet. Adorable. Honestly, yeah. Like you've got like you got two little cabinets here, two drawers here, four cabinets over there. Like my God. Further proof as to why I don't like these little adhesive dots. Uh, this little this little stand mixer here really does not like to adhere to those dots for whatever reason, and I think it's because of the feet and because it's standing off a little bit. I think what we do I think we just leave that there for a second, let it glue. I'm gonna zoom in on this just because I find it really funny. Let me zoom in really quick. So just one of these stickers they have is like, oh, it's like, cookies 30% off, but then they just have bagel, two exclamation points. Delicious, must try.
espresso bagel exactly. Also, actually, no, I'm going to show you this too. I don't like the fact that the cookies in that 30% off sign have eyes. I don't like the sentient cookies, I'm not gonna lie. They're a little creepy. Jesus Christ. I tilted this forward and one of the drawers fell out, and I was just like, why are they falling out? And I forgot that they're just like literally hanging in there. You know, it would actually help if I was like zoomed out so you guys could see what's going on. Sorry about that. But yeah, so we have this little back cabinet put in place. We got our little bread basket. So now what I'm going to try and do is ever so carefully now what I'm going to try is like ever so carefully I'm going to try and glue this bread cabinet in place. Yeah. So now what I'm curious about is Let me try something real quick. What I was going to do super quickly is I grabbed a USB-C cable of mine, and at the risk of disabling this port, haha, and you can't really see it because, oh yeah, I guess you can if you tilt it like that, but let me zoom in a little bit. You can see the light in the oven back there. Very neat, very neat. So, unfortunately, we won't really have the overhead lighting just yet because that obviously would come with the next part of this, which is the second kit. So, but that said, you know, I feel like every time I do these Rolife kits, Rolife tends to prove me wrong once again. Because my thought process was like, oh well, these are a little simpler. They're easy. They're just putting things together. That's not a big deal. And so that maybe we can get a couple of these done in a couple of hours. But here we are, 2.5 hours later, and I've only done one of the two kits. So, so that said, what I think we're going to do is I think we're going to stop here, and then maybe tomorrow we'll continue this with like a part two, where we put together the bookstore, and then once we have the bookstore, we can combine the two of them together into one singular kit. But I digress. I think that will be tomorrow's plan, only because I'm not really sure if I'm up for another 2 hours putting together another one of these kits just yet. But before we do that, I think this is an extra box because I don't see it anywhere in the pictures. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and just take it out and go ahead and assemble it. We can put it somewhere. We can figure out where to put it together. Runners in what fashion do you mean? So in terms of like connecting the kits, this song. Uh, I don't actually know. In terms, I'm actually not sure what Gundam runners are. I hate to say that. Oh, no, it's more like Legos. Honestly, realistically, the only thing that they include is a pair of tweezers, and that's actually really the only thing that you need to put these kits together, so to speak. There aren't any sprues. I think that's what or I think that's what I'm used to calling them, or sprues. Uh, But no, there aren't any runners or sprues. All of the pieces are already sort of just loose inside the bag. So yeah, it's honestly more akin to Legos. Yeah, exactly. It's ready to build. Um, like I said, it's more akin to Lego in that regard. So basically all you have to do is just put the pieces together. Um, but honestly, the reason this took so long, I think, is because yes, while it is compared to like the book nooks that I put together, because the book nooks do come on sprues, except obviously the sprues are made of wood because it's laser cut wood. Unlike the book nooks that I put together, the book nooks do have a lot of detail, but the detail is more environmental than it is like individual little pieces. This just has a ton of little pieces to put together. Yeah, I actually have a pair of sprue cutters or nippers for him. Um, I have a bunch of like I don't normally let me turn this down really quick. This is distracting me. Um, I have a lot of I have a lot of model tools. I just don't usually get them out unless I need them. But like I have these pair of tweezers. I actually have I think like 6 or 7 different pairs of tweezers that are all nice, really good quality. Like 4 or 5 different kinds of pliers. Like God knows like 10 different kinds of glue. Um, I have sprue cutters. I have sandpaper. I've got calipers. Uh, I've got a bunch of model tools. It's just that obviously for like things like this where I don't really need them per se, I usually don't even bother getting them out. But either way, yeah. So I'm gonna do a little bit of cleaning up really quickly. But yeah, this was. Oh yeah, I'm definitely prepared. Like I said, I've done other Gundam kits before, but even outside of the Gundam kits, I've done plastic model kits before. So I have like tools just for that. And then even if I'm not doing like a plastic model, like even these book nooks, those tools still do come in handy. So I just happen to have a lot of them because they're useful one way or another, whether it's for book nooks or whether it's for these model kits or whether it's for like actual models or even for like 3D printing. So I've got a good collection of tools ready for them. But but yeah, awesome. That took quite a bit longer than I expected, but you know what? That's okay. It just means that we will have another stream where we build the other kit. So just to give a preview of that one super quick. So the other kit is this one. It's this little fascinating bookstore, quote unquote. This one, I think a lot of the detail is going to be obviously like assembling the books and stuff. There's not as much like intricate detail. Yeah, I like this one a lot. I think this one will be fun. And then like I've mentioned before, I think when we do ultimately get this one built, what I'm going to do is this one is going to be the one that's on top. So we'll have the bakery below, then the bookstore on top of it, and then because these don't have roofs built into them, they do sell these little extra kits, which are just the roof piece itself alone. So we'll have bakery, bookstore, and then the bookstore will have a roof on top of it. And then if we get anything else, we can build out to the side, or we can move upwards. We can pretty much go from there. I think one thing that I kind of had like a bit of a misinterpretation about is some of these things are designed to be removed. Like this little top part. The reason you don't do anything like gluing it in place is because it is designed for you to, oh, if you're going to expand it, you're supposed to be able to remove it. The inside pieces, like the actual scenery itself, I'm fine with it being glued. Um, but other things, like I said, the side panels, those are supposed to be removed. So I'll refrain from gluing. But yeah, I think this one would be a lot of fun. They've got I think like 27 different versions of this like super creator kit now. There's a good handful of them I don't personally care for just because they're not my thing. Like some of them are like a little cute living room or like a One of them's like a diner. They've got like a hot pot restaurant. They've got a bunch of really cool ones. And so the fact that this is like a modular system where it is designed to expand, I think will be super cool because it'll be something that we can kind of build together and expand into a little, like I said, a little neighborhood or a little shopping center. But I digress. It is getting a little bit late on my side, partially because I started so late. But I appreciate you all. Thanks again for tuning in. Uh, we are going to go ahead and end here. But before we do, I do believe a good friend of mine is still streaming. So we're going to see if we could read that really quick. She is. Cool. All right. So, as always, thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you guys around. I do stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays are my dedicated days, sometimes on Saturdays, and if you're lucky, we might be doing a bonus stream just sometime throughout the week. So, thanks as always, and have a wonderful night, guys.